All right, so as WEGL celebrates its 50th, I've got a couple of interesting people in WEGL history here. So Brynn, you're a recent graduate and were the previous station manager to the current one. And Cheryl, you're not a WEGL DJ from, well, we're not a WEGL DJ from what I understand, but you are in a very iconic photo that is related to the station. So I guess, Brynn, let's start with you. Where did you see the photo of Cheryl and Aubie in the station? The picture is very familiar. It's got Aubie with his kind of feet kicked up, and he's looking at some photographs, and then Cheryl's kind of up on the desk there in the studio, and looking at an album, I guess, and then blowing a bubble with some bubble gum. So where did you see that photo first, Brynn?
So the first time I saw it, it was my first semester with WEGL, and I was just kind of putzing around the studio, and they would sometimes let the DJs have little free merchandise things that are just around the studio, and there were these button pins, and it was Cheryl's picture on there, and I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, I want to be her. And there was also stickers too, and I have some of the original stickers.
So there's stickers and buttons with that picture on it.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it about the picture? What was it about the picture that was so appealing to you?
I don't know. She just looked cool, and it was Aubie there, and I feel like it embodied Auburn, and it was just cool with all the albums and stuff, and the record player. I don't know. I thought it was cool. I feel like it really embodied WEGL as well.
And so what did you do? What did you do from there? You saw the photo when you first got involved in WEGL, and then obviously it took you a while before you did anything to it. When did you have the idea that you were going to do something with it?
So when I was applying to be the station manager, this was like I was with WEGL for a couple years prior to that, but it was in my like application interview. I said that I wanted to kind of capture what WEGL was back in the 70s and how it originated and just how cool it was like originally. And I wanted to kind of make that how WEGL is now. I wanted to kind of reinstate the original coolness of WEGL. And so I don't know, I think it was, I was the station manager for a semester, I think. And then I was just looking at the sticker and I was like, what if we like redid it? And obviously I wanted to be the cool girl with the bubble gum and Aubie with all the albums. And I was like, well, what if we did this, guys?
So Cheryl, I want to go over to you. I think this was shot, from my research, it looks like it was shot around 1981. What is your memory of being involved in the photo? Like, how did it come about? How did you get involved with it?
Well, I have to admit, I had no idea there were stickers and buttons. So this is all new to me. So I find this incredibly interesting. The cool thing was my freshman fall was the fall of 79. And that was Aubie's same fall. That was his very first fall that he ever performed at any of the football games. Oh, so I don't know what year his calendar was the first year of his calendar, but it was probably 80 or 81. So to have been asked to pose with Aubie at WEGL was just, I mean, it was a really big deal because Aubie was just the whole embodiment now, an animation of Auburn. So, and I mean, he still is. Everyone loves to get their picture made with Aubie, but back then, not that many had their photos made with Aubie. So have been asked to make the photo, it was quite an honor for me and thrilling because Aubie was so new. So it was just an interesting thing. And we got into the studio and we're kind of setting up and, grabbed an album cover and started looking at it. And then how the gum came about, I honestly don't know. But all of a sudden somebody said, well, blow a bubble. And of course you blow a bubble and that's right when they take the photo. So that's how that came about.
Who asked you, Cheryl, do you remember who asked you to do the photo?
I don't remember who asked me to do the photo. And I was trying to think back and I remember that the first Aubie, was Barry, but I don't remember. I don't think that was Barry. I think Barry had already graduated. And so I don't remember who Aubie actually was at that point.
And so you were in the Haley Center studio. That's where you went.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you were in the original. You were in 1239, the original Haley Center room. That was where the studio was. Did they shoot a whole bunch of different ways when they shot that picture, Cheryl, or did they? I mean, how long were you there? Kind of. Do you remember any of that?
You know, I think it went really quickly. I don't think we shot it a whole bunch of ways. I think we just kind of kicked back and, like I said, I grabbed an album cover, and they said blow a bubble. I blew a bubble, and we took a few more shots, and it ended up being the bubble shot that ended up being on the calendar.
I want to applaud you for getting the perfect bubble on the first try. There's some good outtakes of me trying to blow the perfect bubble. I had like all these packs of gum, and I was like, okay, guys, let's do it. You're like, can you do it again? And I'm like, I don't know.
You're like, hold on a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think I had a piece. Do you remember Double Bubble? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if they still have that. Okay, I think that's what it was. So those are pretty easy to blow a bubble with.
Yes, I think mine might have been Hubba Bubba or something. But yeah, you made it look pretty effortless. And then I started trying to do it, and I was like, wow.
And what I find so interesting about looking at the two photos is truly the evolution of Aubie. You know, he was so new back then, and he was a great animated character back then, but to see the evolution of, you know, early 80s to 2020 is just amazing to see that evolution of what he looked like then and what he looks like now.
Absolutely.
Hey, Brynn, where did you go when you had the idea? So I don't even know who shot the photo that you took. So how did you get like, what did you have to do to set it all up, and who took the photo and all of that?
So setting it up, I think I don't know who originally brought up the idea. I think I probably like put it in the minds of my staff, and then they kind of like took it over, and they were like, that's a really great idea. And I'm like, sweet. And then we started trying to think about like what all we would need. Obviously Aubie, which he was a lot easier to get in touch with than we thought. It was kind of cool because we were just like, we want Aubie to come take pictures, and they were like, okay, when? And we were like, I don't know, when is he available? And they're like, whenever. And we were like, awesome, sweet. So we booked him for a date. And then I went and tried to find my outfit to try and perfectly replicate like the red shirt and then the white, I think it was, skirt. I'm looking at the pictures over here. And I was like, well, where are we going to do it? And we were like in my office with all the records. I went and got my bubble gum, and I actually had a photographer that was coming, which was a friend of mine, and he canceled the night before. And so I was texting in the big WEGL organization group, like, guys, we have Aubie coming tomorrow. This is our only chance. Like, can anyone take good pictures? And I think it was, what was his name? Gordon. I get his name wrong. But one of the WEGL DJs stepped up and was like, well, I have a camera. I can do it. And I was like, please, like, so he stepped up, and everyone kind of came together. Some of the other DJs brought some outfits for me, and we just all came together to make like the perfect replication.
So can you all see the picture of the original now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love the stack of albums back there.
Super cool. I haven't seen it in this like HD quality before. I've only seen it in the framed version. So cool.
Cheryl, what was your, I mean, how did you get asked, I guess, to do the shoot?
In all honesty, I'm not quite sure. I felt myself extremely lucky to have been chosen, but I can't tell you why I was. But it was a true honor to have been. Like I said, Aubie was brand new, and to have your photo made with Aubie back then was a really big deal.
And there's the recreation. So that, Brynn, that's not actually in the studio, correct? That's in the, I guess that's in the station manager's office?
It is, yes.
Okay.
And then here I have some of the stickers that we made. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. How cool.
And this one, I should have had these out. Here's the one with you on it. So we
Oh my
tried to make
goodness.
it kind of look the same, sort of.
How awesome.
Those are really cool. Well, I think it's a really amazing piece of WEGL history and something really, really special that you did, Brynn. I guess, Cheryl, what is your thoughts knowing that 40 years after us and almost 40 years after you took that photo that it would, I'm sorry. I do the same thing when I think about my graduation year. What are your thoughts with what Brynn did?
Well, I have to tell you, first off, it was absolute shock. I had no idea. And when you called regarding it, it was just, it's a major honor. And thank you, Brent, for liking the photo enough to have recreated it. As I said, it's striking to look at you and I, and we look about the same. Probably we were about the same age and generally, wearing the same clothes because it was a recreation. And then, like I said, to look at Obby and the evolution of Obby from, I'm not going to say the number of years, but just from the 80s till the 2020s, it's been quite a change, but it was an honor. And thank you so much for thinking enough of that photo to try and recreate it.
Brynn, well, you've got Cheryl. Anything any final words you want to say to her?
Thank you for taking the picture and being cool. I don't know. I don't know. I looked at that picture and I just thought that's what I want WEGL to be, and that's kind of what the aura that I want the organization to take on. And so, when I look at the recreation thing that I did, I'm really proud because I feel like we kind of did that during my time, and the staff really came together to kind of bring back the original coolness of WEGL. And so I'm proud of it. And so thank you for giving the original idea of being there for it.
Well, thank you. And maybe one day, a number of years from now, someone else will recreate it again. You never know.
That would be crazy. That would be cool. I wonder how much Obby will change then.
It'll be interesting to see.